Hello everyone, and welcome to the first video where I'm talking, and today I'm going to be going over Radix's performance at the June 22nd NHRL. Now, this was Radix's second performance for the year. I had fought once before in April, and that was with the University of Dayton Redline Robotics team. When we were there in April, we brought 4 robots, Radix, Radon, Gotham, and Raise the Roof. And this time in June, I was there just by myself. I've graduated from UD, the club has a new president, so at this competition I was really focusing on just seeing how far I could push Radix. Could I make it to be in the top 4? Could I qualify? Is that even an option, or am I going to have to go back to the drawing board? So this entire tournament, I had the number 5 in the back of my head. 5 wins and I get into the World Championship. And one last thing I want to mention before I get into the actual fights is that I made a strategy document for all 96 3-pound robots, or at least the ones I could find information on, that were in this tournament. So as I go through all of my fights, I can kind of show you what I was thinking in the back of my head as I approached each of my opponents. So without further ado, let's get into my first matchup. Now this was against a robot called Run and Gun, and I knew nothing about them until Gil messaged me on Discord letting me know that it was a flamethrower. Now, my robot is completely 3D printed, so this matchup was terrifying. And to add on to that, the robot used Kiwi Drive too. I didn't even know what Kiwi Drive was before this event. And this is a first-time builder. He's never built a combat robot before. He's had some experience in first, but this was an ambitious first build any way you slice it. To try and prevent myself from completely melting, I ended up buying $40 automotive engine tape to wrap my entire robot in. But anyway, let's see how I did.
Radix has been through, this is their 5th event here at NHRL. They've got 7 wins under their belt.
Right at the beginning of this fight, I decided it's a good idea to attack the wall.
With a very optimal design going up against Run and Gun, which is...
At this point, I'm really just going for a strategy of swoop in, hit the wheel, and then get out as fast as possible, so I don't have to spend too much time in their flamethrower.
Run and Gun.
No, the fact that the flame is so close to the wheel on that one side makes me very nervous. There goes the armor, and flame going directly into the wheels. The wheels already lost a bunch, and that's a tap out.
All right.
So that was a pretty solid matchup, minus some rough driving right at the beginning. I got my hits in, avoided the fire, probably didn't even need the tape, but came out with the W. Now, my next opponent was a robot called Iceblade. As you can see here, I didn't really have the most well thought out plan for this fight. I saw there was a lot of flat metal paneling on Iceblade and thought I could just rip that off. However, this picture's a little bit outdated, and the robot that showed up to the competition had a 3D printed unibody instead. All of those metal plates on the front were done away with, so I had a lot more trouble damaging this robot than I originally thought I would. So let's see how this match went. I learned my lesson from the last fight, and I was able to control my weapon spin up a lot better than I was at the beginning of the last fight.
That's one of those things that could go either way. It's either going to work really well or explode, and either way it's going to be interesting, I think.
After the first couple impacts in this fight, I noticed that their weapon isn't spinning up too fast. I also notice it doesn't seem to store as much energy as my weapon, so I decide to spin a little bit slower and take it more conservatively. I'm going for less knockout hits than I have in previous fights.
I've always thought that the downward spinning vert is underutilized. Really? Just come in and smack the lid. Sure, you're going to go flying. You're probably going to hit the ceiling. It's sort of like an overhead hammer saw that you don't need to aim. Just come in and whack them right on the top of it.
I'm eager to get into this with you a little later, Adam, because that is a fascinating perspective.
Now, the situation I get in right here gets pretty hairy. I was caught on my side guard, and I could see that my weapon was slowly pulling myself closer towards the wall, so I was waiting for my blade to strike the kick plate and me to flip over and land on my wheels. However, Iceblade comes up right behind me during this situation, and they could have easily struck me on the top plate and gone right through here.
To recover.
Yeah, that was entirely a gyroscopic situation. I'm really surprised Iceblade didn't capitalize on that opportunity. That was a golden opportunity.
Sometimes, you know, you're like, maybe they'll get stuck, use an unstick, but I think you're right. They should have taken advantage and hit that, like, the juicy parts of the robot that were just laying there for the taking and unable to take advantage. And Radix now coming back strong. after giving a second life. Those types of precarious positions can really mess with you as a driver. They can kind of get you on edge when those happen. But Radix doesn't seem phased. They're just still going.
While I'm upside down here, I absolutely floor the weapon throttle and get a center mass shot on Iceblade's weapon.
Radix upside down now and got a massive hit with the now overcutter blade.
Iceblade not moving at all now.
No, it looks very messed up.
Its weapon system is still working, but
the frame is completely twisted there.
So at this point of the day, I'm 2 fights in and I've got 2 wins. That means I get a bye round in round 1 of the bracket, and I'm going to be fighting the winner of Kinda Average and Instant Regret. Both of these are Cybear's beater bars, so I know I'm going to be fighting a beater bar either way. And my strategy for approaching them is pretty much always the same. I aim for one of their uprights and just try and spin them around in a circle, go for the wheels. I'm just trying to not get caught by the bottom of their weapon and thrown up into the air. So let's see how my match against Kinda Average went. At this point, they call for the unstick, but I'm not sure if their drive is down or if they just have a fork stuck under the wall here, so I decide to go for the hit while they're getting unstuck. And once Brett pushes them away from the wall, I realize their drive is completely out, so I can just wait for the count out here. Now, after 3 wins, I'm farther than I've ever been in an NHRL tournament before. Like I said before, I was shooting for 5 wins to qualify, and I had 3 of those wins so far. My next opponent was a robot called Mr Scrubbles. Now, Mr Scrubbles had come from a very scary part of the bracket, because earlier in the day, one of their opponents had beaten Synthesis, and then Mr Scrubbles beat that robot. So, I had to fight the robot that beat Synthesis. Coming into this tournament, I knew Mr Scrubbles was an extremely solid fingertech beater bar. My strategy here was to try and target those orange Banebot's wheels and hopefully blow up their gearboxes to take out their drive. So let's take a look at the match and see if that strategy paid off. This is the fastest I've ever been box rushed in any fight ever. I did not expect to rip the entire beater bar off of Mr Scrubbles. That completely changed my plan going into the rest of this fight. Also, that's David of Kilojoule you can hear cheering for me in the background. He was my hype man all day, and I really appreciated having him there. I'm getting a lot of hits on the wheels here, and I'm trying to take out their drive, but Mr Scrubbles had these really clever metal side guards, which were preventing me from delivering any amount of substantial energy into their gearboxes. And here, my cracked side guard from earlier actually peels away from the robot.
130. You're halfway done.
Half the flight's left.
You're good.
I'm caught on the VFR. There we go.
Yep.
Is this a pin?
Yep. Nice.
Oh no, he's pinning me.
Oh, you're good, you're good. Thirty seconds. Oh yeah. 15 seconds. Five seconds. Oh yeah.
That match was a lot of fun. I wasn't able to execute the strategy I had planned on, because those metal side guards on Mr. Scrubbles held up really well. But ripping their weapon off in the first 30 seconds really swung the match in my favor, and then from that point forward I just had to keep being aggressive and get a few pins in there, and I had won the judge's decision. When I won this fight, a few things happened at the same time. First of all, I'm in the final 8 at this point, so I'm on prime time now, which is the stream on NHRL's main channel. Secondly, I'm now 1 win away from being in the final 4, which is how far I need to get to qualify. Now, my next opponent for this upcoming match was a robot called Jelly Baby. This is one of the highest ranked and most successful control bots at NHRL, and I was terrified of fighting them from before the tournament started, and now I had to go against them. So my strategy going into this match was to try and aim for those really long forks on the side of their robot, because I was figuring if I could grab onto that and spin them around, I could have some clean shots at the wheels. I didn't want to go for the center and be caught up in that dustpan design they have. So let's see how this match went.
Like a blue raspberry, blue razzmatazz kind of situation.
Interesting matchup here. You don't see Jelly Baby running any sort of wedge, just going straight in with.
Yeah, there's no way I'm grabbing onto those forks.
Forks against a horizontal spinner, and winning the first engagement here as Radix nothing doing against the front setup.
No, this is a very effective wedge situation, and Radix is a robot that gets very destabilized very fast.
Big hit to the top of Jelly Baby there, but it doesn't seem to have done anything.
No, remember that Jelly Baby name is not just for fun. It is a squishy robot in a lot of places.
Yeah.
And that padding takes a lot of punishment.
Nice little self right there. Always fun when the robot can flip itself back over. Jelly Baby's robot flipper, deceptively fast little pop it can give people. Just toss them up a little bit. Doesn't seem to even need it here, as it's just able to send Radix flying using Radix's own kinetic energy.
Yeah, it is both.
I decided to bring back my strategy from the first match of attacking the wall.
For just a second,
Radix really no answer for the shape on Jelly Baby. You see a little flip there, just waiting out the pin counter.
and that is
At this point, you can see me in the top right ask my brother how much time I have left. He tells me 1:40, so in my head I'm thinking, okay, I'm getting destroyed, but I have more than half the match left, so I'm gonna need a new strategy.
As a control bot, you want to show control and you want to run down the clock. Every second you're driving around is a second you could get smacked with that spinner in the wrong spot. So if you can hold that pin, you want to hold it and run down that clock while you're scoring points. Tremendous design here on Jelly Baby. Just able to
And this was the moment where the new strategy clicked. I realized if I was upside down, I could have a better chance of getting to those wheels, and I was at the perfect height to go right over those TPU side guards.
Jelly Baby stuck under the wall, maybe.
Yeah, it appears so. That is a bad place.
One wheel down, one to go.
Radix a little impatient, doesn't hit the juicy bits.
However, left-hand side drive on Jelly Baby, now out of commission, at least almost entirely.
Yeah, I wonder if that was actually a result of that hit. Were they able to get the wheel there?
It could be also something that broke while it was stuck trying to free itself.
Well, that's a big change in this fight with 40 seconds to go. I think this will end up getting to the judges. That's a massive swing in the damage score. As a control bot, you cannot give up damage, and that is going to hurt. They're also losing control points now, unable to keep going with their streak.
They are certainly failing to gain them at the very least. The points that they gained early in the match.
And there
will
goes
carry
the
them
second
on.
wheel.
And now,
okay,
they come back to life a little bit, but with 8 seconds left in the fight.
Big hit!
Jelly Baby taking some big hits.
That was Jelly Baby's fight, but my goodness, those last 30 seconds with an emphasis on the last 10, everything turned around.
I say this a lot with a control bot, you have to be perfect for 3 minutes. With a spinner, you only have to be perfect for about 1 second. You get those opportune hits, and now both sides of drive on Jelly Baby are down. This is a tough one for the judges.
So, what exactly happened here? They didn't show this on stream, but as the clock hit 0 and my weapon struck the floor here, it actually died. It never turned back on, so during the functionality test, I had drive and no weapon, and Jelly Baby had no drive, but they had their weapon. So for the judges, that takes the scorecard from being 6-0 towards me for damage to being 3-3, an even split. If I wanted to win this fight, I needed all of those damage points, because they beat me on control the entire match. To qualify, I needed to go 5-0, and I went 4-1. Now, all hope was not lost because Jelly Baby had already qualified at a previous event, and at every House of Havoc event, Norwalk guarantees that 4 robots will qualify. So, the qualification jumps to the next highest seeded robot coming into this tournament. The next highest seed here was Chubby Unicorn, and they had to go against a previous world champion. And they won. Now, since Chubby Unicorn had qualified in my fight against Jelly Baby, and they had already won their fight against Loopy, they then qualified Warhard. Warhard had a fantastic comeback win against Comet, and the next highest seed after that was me. What's crazy about all of this is that Chubby Unicorn was seeded number 2, Warhard was seeded number 3. Seeds 4 through 15 had all been eliminated by this point, and I was the next highest seed at 16. Furthermore, Loopy, which is just Droopy, if they had come into the tournament and named the robot Droopy, it would have been a higher seed than me, and it would have qualified instead of me. But sometimes the stars align, and you get the perfect set of circumstances that qualify you for NHRL finals. That's what happened to me in this case. I mean, not 30 minutes before all these matches happened, I thought I had the worst luck in the world. That one bad weapon bounce at the end of the Jelly Baby fight could have cost me that match. I felt like I had the worst luck and the best luck I've ever had at NHRL in the same day. But good luck, bad luck, you take it all, that's just life. But at the end of the day, we got there. And to put the cherry on top of all of this, I got this message from someone I grew up watching fight BattleBots on TV. That's the end of this video, but I'll see you guys in December. I'll see you at finals.